General Hospital will reveal that Willow, without hesitation, decided to accompany Drew to Washington for his important inauguration ceremony, leaving behind her family and the maternal responsibilities she should have prioritized. Willow entrusted her children to Nina's care, allowing herself to fully enjoy Drew's moment of glory as if the issues surrounding her no longer mattered. This action not only enraged Carly but also deepened the conflicts that had already existed between them. Carly, who was drowning in grief after Michael's tragic death, felt completely betrayed by Willow's thoughtlessness and selfishness. For Carly, losing Michael wasn't just losing a son, but also losing a part of the meaning of her life. The pain grew even more intense when Carly witnessed Willow, who had been loved and protected by Michael, acting as if Michael's sacrifice never existed. Willow was not only cold in her behavior, but she openly enjoyed her life with Drew, a man rumored to have been involved in a series of unethical acts. In Carly's eyes, Willow not only betrayed Michael but also hurt her children, her grandchildren, whom Carly considered the last legacy of her son. Willow's indifference further eroded Carly's trust, especially as Nina, instead of condemning Willow's wrongful actions, blindly defended her daughter. Nina not only covered for Willow but also actively supported her in abandoning her family to pursue personal interests. This made it impossible for Carly to forgive. Carly, who always prioritized family values, felt the betrayal from both Willow and Nina as a deep cut into her self-respect. For Carly, nothing was worse than those once considered family acting irresponsibly and mercilessly. Willow not only chose to give up her role as a mother at a critical time but also put her personal pride above the interests of her children. Carly could not understand why Nina, a mother, would stand by Willow without criticizing such shameful behavior. She felt as though she was fighting alone in a world where ethics and responsibility were gradually overshadowed by ambition and personal selfishness. Drew, in his position as an elected official, had once prided himself on his image as a dedicated and upright individual. However, behind that glamorous facade lay a long history of actions contrary to ethics that he tried to hide. Drew's illicit relationships, particularly with Nina and Willow, mother and daughter, not only tarnished his personal image but also threatened the political career he had painstakingly built. Drew believed that his power and influence were enough to shield him from scandal, but reality proved the opposite. In her anger and despair, Carly could not accept that Drew continued to be praised and empowered despite his immoral lifestyle. Carly's fury stemmed not only from the pain of losing Michael but also from her belief that Drew was the root cause of the tragedy that befell her family. Drew's betrayal with Willow, who had once been his grandson's wife, was the final straw, pushing Carly to expose the truth, regardless of the consequences. Carly's plan was meticulously staged, targeting Drew's grand inauguration ceremony, where he intended to assert his new position in front of the public. Carly, taking advantage of the rumors that had already begun to spread, quietly incited a disgruntled group within the community. Stories about Drew's illicit relationship with Willow, along with rumors of his past with Nina, quickly spread like wildfire. The public began to doubt, and the whispers turned into contempt for someone once seen as a symbol of integrity and responsibility. When the ceremony took place, the solemn atmosphere was quickly shattered by chaos. Carly had arranged for videos showing Drew's wrongful actions to appear just as he was speaking before the crowd. The footage was clear and undeniable, capturing Drew in intimate moments with both Nina and Willow, leaving everyone at the ceremony stunned. Whispers quickly turned into waves of anger, and the crowd rapidly lost control. They shouted, harshly criticizing Drew, demanding his immediate resignation. The riot at the ceremony not only ruined Drew's big day but also completely destroyed the image he had worked so hard to build. His political allies, who had once fully supported him, quickly turned their backs to avoid being tainted by the scandal. Drew became the target of public scorn and contempt, losing not only his position but also the trust of the public. Carly, though knowing her actions were risky, felt satisfied that the truth had finally come to light. In her eyes, Drew's downfall was the price he had to pay for the wrongs he had done, not just to her family but to the entire community. The inauguration ceremony began with a solemn atmosphere and applause from Drew's supporters. Every speech from key figures emphasized Drew's dedication and responsibility to the community, further embellishing the perfect image he had carefully crafted. However, behind that facade was a seething undercurrent of anger and suspicion, quietly fueled by Carly, which reached its climax during the ceremony. As Drew stepped up to the podium, the crowd fell silent, but the calm was abruptly broken when a large screen behind him suddenly flickered on. No one expected that instead of images celebrating Drew's career, the scandalous video would appear. The footage, clear and undeniable, captured intimate moments between Drew, Nina, and Willow. Each frame was like a knife cutting into Drew's image in the public eye, transforming respect into contempt in an instant. The crowd was stunned, then quickly turned to outrage. Shouts and boos echoed through the square, creating a wave of uncontainable opposition. Harsh words were aimed directly at Drew, calling him a traitor, immoral, and even a disgrace to the community he had once pledged to serve. Drew's political allies, once by his side, now hurriedly withdrew, afraid of being caught up in this shocking scandal. No one came to his defense. Drew was abandoned in the midst of the storm of criticism. Willow, who had placed all her trust in Drew and seen him as a strong support, now felt powerless. The expectations she had placed on this relationship evaporated like soap bubbles. Drew's career collapse took Willow's reputation down with it, as the public had already been suspicious of her. The glares of contempt and cruel words now weren't just directed at Drew but also aimed squarely at her, making Willow realize that everything was beyond her control. Nina, the mother who had stood by Willow and defended her from criticism, couldn't avoid the public's wrath. Her involvement with Drew not only caused her to lose credibility but also destroyed her own image. Both mother and daughter were now cast aside, with no one willing to defend or support them. The video not only marked Drew's downfall but also triggered devastating consequences for all those involved. Drew, Willow, and Nina became the focus of gossip and became symbols of betrayal and moral decay. The inauguration ceremony, which had been expected to be the pinnacle of Drew's career, became the tomb of his dreams and reputation. In the public's eyes, Drew not only lost his career but also lost trust, respect, and everything that had once defined him. Carly stood in the shadows, her eyes fixed on the chaotic scene before her. The shouts, the angry crowd's roar echoed around her like an emotional storm, of which she was the one who had set the stage. Carly watched everything unfold according to her plan, but in her eyes, there was not only satisfaction but also a deep, hidden bitterness. Carly had risked everything to expose the truth about Drew, the man she believed had contributed to destroying her family and hurting Michael. Seeing Drew attacked, his reputation shattered right at the inauguration ceremony, Carly could not deny the satisfaction she felt, knowing that justice had been served in her own way. She clearly saw Drew's downfall, a man who once arrogantly thought he was untouchable, now reduced to a shadow of himself, mocked and turned away by the crowd. Willow and Nina, who had conspired with and enabled Drew's actions, were now caught in this storm of fury, facing the consequences of their selfishness and cruelty. But in that moment, Carly also felt the cost she had paid for this action. Michael's image, the son she loved more than anything, vividly appeared in her mind, bringing with it an unhealable pain. Michael's death was the reason she could not forgive, the source of her determination to destroy Drew and Willow. But even in her success, Carly could not bring Michael back. The emptiness and loss remained forever in her heart, like a wound that would never heal. Carly understood that the truth that had just been exposed not only destroyed Drew but also shook the foundations of the relationships around her. But she believed it was necessary. For Carly, nothing was more important than showing the world the true faces of Drew and Willow, two people she saw as symbols of betrayal and moral decay. Carly had no regrets about what she had done, because she believed that justice had to be served, even if it brought bitterness and loss. As the boos continued to echo, Carly quietly turned and walked away, leaving behind the chaos she had created. She knew her life would never be the same again, but Carly also knew that at least she had fought to protect Michael's memory, to remind everyone that wrongful acts should never be forgotten. In Carly's heart, the bitterness mixed with a sense of peace, because she believed that in the end, she had done the right thing.